Hey, welcome in. It's the Fantasy Flow. What you're looking at here is the preseason tier rankings that Andy and I did for our 32 team Dynasty League. We did a startup draft in the off season, some moves were made, rookie draft, and this is how we sorted all 32 teams in our league. And now we're here doing a mid-season tier ranking, seeing what changed, seeing what didn't. Andy, take us to the brand new empty tier rankings.
Du-du-du-du.
Alrighty. We're just going to start at the top. Andy, you want to get us going with the Jets?
Sure, yeah. Let's make sure I can see what I said. Yeah, the Jets, great team. Let's see their team already. Some highlight players here: James Cook, Brandon Ayuk, ouch, hurt for the season. Just found out that today. Jared Goff playing like an MVP. Some great defensive players. Not so great this week, but yeah, just showing you quickly hit this team. I put this team as a potential champion. What about you?
Wow, okay. I don't know that I would. We did in the offseason, I'm pretty sure. I was just so banged up. I mean, Ayuk's not coming back, and that wasn't his first big injury. Oh, I guess he traded away future draft capital for Rashee Rice, so that doesn't really count against him. But his team just seems really banged up. But you think they can get healthy, get right, and contend for a championship?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this team is 4-2. Their matchup right now is them.
They're taking a loss this week.
They are taking a loss this week. That's right. Yeah, I think I just really like Jared Goff, and having a really strong quarterback is really important in this league. So Jared Goff's playing really well. I don't see why not. Not Mark Ingram. Evan Ingram is coming back. James Cook.
Yeah, he's got
Yeah,
pieces. I when I did these rankings, I just went top to bottom. So I started with the Jets, and I was like, okay. But then going through the rest of the teams, this roster actually looks better after
yeah,
going through and looking at all the others. Yeah, DJ Moore on bye. Just
yeah.
imagine him being thrown into the lineup. So yeah, I'm
Exactly.
I'm I'm fine putting him into that championship contention.
Okay. Miami Dolphins. They're 3-3. They're looking at taking a win this week. Yep, against New England. This was a divisional week. We're actually recording this Monday night as the Tampa Bay Ravens game and the Chargers Arizona game is going on. So the week is not completely finished, but yes, they got Miami has a completed win. They have Kareem Hunt, again, some just highlight players: Alan Lazard, Derrick Henry, that just had a huge rushing touchdown here just moments ago. But man, the biggest hit here: Deshaun Watson out for the year.
Yeah, he has both of his backups. Um, and he has Joe Flacco for when Joe Flacco they decide to throw him in there.
Yep.
But
DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, that
yeah,
shouldn't
yeah,
come
he's
back at any
loaded
point.
at running back, and that was
Yeah.
before Kareem Hunt looked like a top
Mm,
10 back. So this team is stacked.
yeah. It's most teams you see in this league are full of their entire bench is full of defensive player, maybe one backup quarterback, maybe one or two wide receiver or running back pieces, but man, this guy's team, I mean, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, I mean, even KJ Hamler, like all the backups for Deshaun Watson. I mean, this team has all the backup pieces they could ever need for
It
offense, and that's
is.
pretty.
I agree with you, but it is at the expense of defense. I think this team has
Mm,
one of the weaker defenses of any good
yeah,
team. If you look at their bench, like they hardly have any defensive players. Um,
that's true. That's true. Well, um,
I'd put them
yeah,
in playoff worthy.
okay,
Um, for those listening who are not in our league, or for some people like Chance who are in our league and may not know all the rules, you need to win your division to even make the playoffs. There's no wild card spots. There's no like, oh, well, you had a good record. It's like, no, you have to finish first in your division to get into the playoffs. Um, so I think the Dolphins could give the Jets a run for their money, even though they don't have as good of a record.
The Dolphins play the next team we're going to talk about, the Buffalo Bills, next week, so that'll be a very important matchup.
Interesting. Yeah, the Bills are an interesting one. They've tried to tank and acquire future capital, but they're just doing it so smartly. He just keeps starting players that go off and accumulating wins. It's hilarious.
Tank just recently traded for Tank Bigsby. Had a monster week this week.
Which was like a play for the future, right? Like he was like,
right.
oh, I'll get the younger guy who seems like he's on the come up, and then he scores 28 points, gets a special teams kickoff return for a touchdown, and then Cody Barton gets a defensive touchdown, and then he ends up dominating when he's like kind of trying to play for next year.
Yeah, that's Cody Barton. I mean, he was originally on the Seahawks, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. Why did we ever? This guy just wherever he was. What he was with Atlanta last year on a 1-year deal or whatever, and just killed it. Like,
no one seems to want to keep him around, but he produces wherever he goes.
Exactly. So yeah, almost 40 points from your linebacker. I mean 50 points total from your linebacking core this week in 1 week. I mean that's crazy. He just has pieces all around here. So, I put the Bills as playoff worthy as well.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's funny with the trade deadline coming up. Any team can just at the flip of a switch, if you have draft capital, you can just turn that into contending pieces if you want to. So, yeah I have no problem throwing them up there.
Okay. Last team in the AFC West is the 0-6 New England Patriots. Derek Carr out for the year, or not out for the year, excuse me, out for multiple weeks. McCole Hardman.
We'll see. Yeah. He might be out for the year.
He might be out for the year. He does have Mariota that popped off this week. Holy crap, 31 points. Yeah. I don't see anybody on this team that's worth mentioning.
No, they're bottom tier. Easy.
Yep, that one. Sorry, but
moving on.
Yeah. Okay. Pittsburgh Steelers, first team in the AFC North. Now, this probably might be the best division in the entire league. When I was doing my review, I had the hardest time deciding who could come out of here. I mean, this week and next week being divisional games, these are really going to shape the picture and shape the future for these teams and their records and whatnot. But Pittsburgh Steelers here, they're 4-2. Highlight players: James Conner, Noah Gray, Lamar Jackson as his quarterback. I mean, that just Aaron Jones. I mean, Lamar himself.
Does that say Lamar has 45 this week?
Almost 45, yeah. Yeah, he's scored a 50 bomb, a 37 bomb, a 32, a 30. I mean, he is averaging sometimes they have it in here. He must be averaging somewhere in the range of 38 points, 36 points a game. I mean, this guy is just killing it. So, Lamar he has great defensive starters: Jordan Brooks, Leonard Williams, PJ Locke, I think is his name. Yeah, PJ Locke from Denver. I mean, Lamar gives this team such an edge that I because I had such a hard time and I saw that he had Lamar, I moved this team up into championship worthy.
Championship worthy. Whoa.
What do you think?
Well, I wrote down, I agree with you. Lamar is carrying their offense. The rest of their offense is bad. Their defense is fine. Playoff worthy is the highest I'm willing to go for this 3-3 team.
He's 4-2. They're 4-2.
He is 4-2.
He's in a battle with the Cincinnati Bengals right now as we speak, to try to get the edge in the division. They're both Cincinnati Bengals and Pittsburgh are 4-2.
So he's probably going to move to 5-2.
Yep. He's projected to win by 5, but the Bengals have.
All right. We both agree that they're a good team, but I don't really care what your record is at the end of the day. If we're talking about whether or not you have a championship team, can you pull up their offense again?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so he has Gabe Davis, a backup tight end, a backup running back, and a backup wide receiver in his starting lineup.
He has James Conner, Aaron Jones, Lamar Jackson. Let's see on his bench, just in case anybody's on bye.
James Conner and Aaron Jones are having a good season. I think I talked some shit about them in the offseason, that they were old, and they are. But
he has Wicks as he didn't play Wicks this week. That looks to be like the only other offensive starter. Maybe Ty Johnson if you need to float him in, and Taysom Hill is waiting in the wing as well. Okay, let's put him at playoff worthy.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the rest of the division, and we'll see if this team we'll try to remember this team and see if it separates them from the pack at all.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so as aforementioned, Cincinnati Bengals are going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are also 4-2. Look at this starting team. Look at this starting lineup. I mean, Brian Robinson for the Commanders, Amon St. Brown, Cade Otton, Kenneth Gainwell even had a day for a backup running back underneath Saquon, and Kyler Murray. But his defensive players, I have been messaging him. I have been talking to him about his defensive players because they are just, yes, for some reason McNeil gets 0 points, but Hubbard 22, Jermaine Pratt 25. I mean, this team, Marlon Humphrey, yes, he just got hurt, but 13. Brian Branch, I mean, man, just like studs all around on defense. And I definitely have noticed that this year defensive players are making more of an impact on teams than before. And this is a great example of it all, because Kyler Murray is not playing great as of lately, and it doesn't matter. His defensive players are just carrying the ball for him.
Yeah, if you close out of that and just look at their division again, you can see their points for and their points against.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, how is this team 4-2? Like, they
Right.
have a couple nice pieces, but they're 4-2. And you look at their points against, they have like 100 fewer points against than the rest of the division.
He just spent all his fab on the Beanie Bishop guy that popped off last night against Aaron Rodgers. I was the other bid at $0, and he put his entire fab into this guy. So
You didn't put 61?
no, no, I didn't. I knew somebody else was going to bid for him, but I was hoping
I mean,
just
that
hit
was
zero.
that was a fun story for Sunday Night
exactly.
Football.
Exactly. I'm gonna. I put this team. Where did I put this team? I also put this team on playoff worthy. Again, this division is just so tough and so back and forth that whoever wins that matchup is going to have a leg up. But then they play one of the other division mates the very next week, and I mean, look at this record. Look at these teams right here. None of them have a losing record.
Super tight. Yep.
So I'm okay putting them at playoff worthy.
No qualms with that. We got a lot of teams in playoff worthy so far, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We'll do. We might have to thin them out. We'll
Yeah.
see. Baltimore Ravens. It's a lot of the same story here. Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, DK Metcalf just got hurt, but stud of a guy. Juwan Jennings probably going to be coming back, and man, just like the Seahawks' hopes, we're leaning on Geno on this one. So. But Jalen Carter, I mean, what a guy! Like last year as a rookie, just like not much production, a little bit better towards the end of the year, but I just feel like he's really starting to come on now. Philadelphia's still trying to find their defense, but Jalen Carter is definitely a centerpiece of it all, and it shows when he scores almost 20 points as a defensive lineman, which is crazy. This one I could be persuaded either way. The Geno DK stack is pretty cool.
Yeah, Chase Brown's looking really good.
Yeah.
I thought that would be really mostly Zach Moss this year, and it's looking like it's leaning Chase Brown. Um, Frustrating for fantasy that they're still splitting, but yeah, he's put up numbers. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you look at their bench,
Yeah. Look at their
don't love
bench.
it.
Yeah, not very deep on their bench, which is almost impossible to be in this league. He does have Cam Akers sitting in the wings. He has a couple backup quarterbacks, but yeah, that and maybe Clyde if he ever comes back this year. But I mean, his defensive players, like I said, they're.
Sounds like you want to put this team in playoff worthy as well.
I do. I do.
Okay,
I really,
okay.
This is where I start to deviate off of this division. So, just for some background, they are actually the Cleveland Browns are the third highest scoring in their division, but they're the most points against.
Tough.
So, yeah.
And by the way, can I interrupt you real quick? Cleveland Browns, if you're listening, you've had a typo in your team name since the inception of this reset of this league.
Oh, that's funny.
I want to correct you and be like, "Hey, fix it," because it's bothering me. But it also makes you look kind of like a clown, so I just kind of like leave it and laugh at you. I don't know if you know that it's there. If you know that it's there and you're not fixing it, then props to you because it's bugging the hell out of me, and I'm sure a lot of us.
I've actually never noticed that. So, yeah, props. You probably just ratted this guy out, and now the commissioners are going to come for his head. So that's hilarious.
Yeah, C.J. Stroud at quarterback, and then he has another quarterback.
Oh, Bo Nix.
Yeah, what are you doing? You have the most points against. You're in a division that's so close. You got to trade one of those guys away. There are tons of teams here
Really?
that don't have quarterbacks, and it's just like you have two young quarterbacks that are producing. C.J. Stroud, not this week, but like I don't know. It seems like a misallocation of resources. You have such like quarterbacks are so valuable in this league, and imagine if you flipped Bo Nix for like a stud starter, and suddenly
True.
he's just as competitive as all these other teams.
Yeah, that's a good point. I personally think in this league, I'm a strong believer. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't win. So, having a backup quarterback that is a starter is really important. But you're totally right. It just depends on. I mean, what are you building for at this point? Like, you have this young stud, C.J. Stroud, probably going to be good for the next 5 to 7 years. You know, like. Why do you have Bo Nix? Why or vice pick your poison really and try to go all in. I mean, like you just said, this division is so close. It's not like it's somebody's blowing it out of the water right now. Why not move that piece and really try to distance yourself from the others?
That's what I'm saying. But
yeah, I'm starting to agree with that type of thought process. Something's going on with CJ Stroud this year. Yeah, he had almost a 40 burger, but
well, he needs Nico Collins back.
he does need Nico Collins back, and Joe Mixon is my like love from afar. So I'm a big fan of Joe Mixon. So why not trade CJ Stroud and keep Joe Mixon? Yeah, hey, you just said you needed to trade one of them. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, you can get more for C.J. Stroud. And look, Bo Nix, he left 15 points on the table this week because he left Bo Nix on the bench and Stroud shat the bed.
At this point, Bo Nix's ceiling might not be as high as C.J. Stroud, but his floor is definitely a lot safer. So maybe riding the Bo Nix, getting a ton for C.J. Stroud. You bring up some valid points there that I hadn't really thought of.
Man,
so
he's got Trey Benson just waiting in the wings. Like it's a good dynasty roster, but I think the way that it sits right now, we can throw this team into that strong core tier because he's got a lot of great pieces, but it's just not a recipe for success right now.
Exactly, and based off of the other teams that we just saw, I feel like they have. In that own division, they have just that a little bit of a leg up on the Browns.
Yeah.
Yep. So good luck to you, Browns. Going to the AFC South. Okay, starting with the top team here, Tennessee Titans. They're 4-2. some highlight players. He has a lot of them. Devon Achane, Chris Godwin, Justin Jefferson, David Njoku, Raheem Mostert, Bucky Irving, Andy Dalton. He does have Matthew Stafford as another quarterback. Anton Winfield, Zaire Franklin, Daniil Hunter. I mean, this team is stacked. Like, there's no other way to say it unless you want to say something else.
No, I mean, looking at this team's roster, it makes me want to just move all the other teams down one tier. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's that different. Like yeah, if you are thinking that you are contending for a championship, like just look at this roster, look at the Jets roster.
Yeah,
Look at both of these teams' rosters, and we'll get to some others that, if you're just looking at your own team like, oh yeah, I'm improving, I'm doing well, I'm better than some others in my division. It's like,
Right.
really properly self-scout, you got to be looking at all the teams. And those two are definitely, I mean, come on, the Titans roster is ridiculous. Like, they're leading the pack.
Yep, for sure. Not much more to say on that. This might be this next team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think this is like, I know they're 4-2, so it's not really a sleeper, but I think this is a really good sleeper team. Jaden Daniels getting hurt, it doesn't help, but Saquon Barkley, Scary Terry, Jaden Reed, excuse me, what a funny name, Little Jordan
Humphrey, yeah.
Little Jordan Humphreys, what a great name.
It's not just for rappers, okay? Football players can have that too.
Look at this guy. Look at this pace. 33 points. I mean, Roquan Smith, the game's not even over yet, has almost 30
we know
points.
Roquan Smith is good.
Yeah. This is just such a interesting, and I think it's pretty well built. Jaden Daniels going out is really gonna hurt his.
James Daniels won't be out long. He won't be out long. I wrote down a couple things for this team. I just said that Jaden Daniels pick was the best pick of the whole rookie draft. Just absolutely nailed it. And this team was a huge beneficiary of a trade that went down with David, who we'll get to later. But with that trade, he upgraded at like a bunch of positions at the same time, gave away a pretty nice future first-round pick. But this team, very solid. If you wanted to throw them up in that champion contenders, I think they deserve it, but they're in the same division as the Titans, and I don't think they're going to win their division.
Yeah, I'm fine leaving them at the playoff worthy. We'll see how long Jaden Daniels is out, and see if Tennessee's team can stay healthy as a whole. Okay, Houston Texans. So this team here, they're also 4-2. They did just lose their matchup this week, so they'll be 4-3. They lost to the aforementioned Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. And if you look at their points for, they have like 100 fewer points for than those other top two teams.
Yes, they do. And look how close their point. They actually have more points against, 3 more points against than they do points for, and they're 4-2. So there's definitely been a little bit of luck involved here. Najee Harris, Stephon Diggs, but the big one here, Josh Allen. I mean, he has to be the number 2 quarterback. Okay, number 4 quarterback. That's actually a little surprising to me. But, man, Josh Allen, just what a stud. And doesn't have amazing pieces on defense, but has, like, middle of the pack, just maybe a tier above middle of the pack when it comes to defensive pieces. What other, do you have anything else for this team?
Nope. I think we can just kind of speed this up a little bit for the teams that aren't kind of at the top of their division right now. I know they're 4-2, but yeah, that feels perfect to me. Throw them in that strong core tier because they got some great players, but they just don't have enough production elsewhere, and they're in such a tough division.
Sure. Okay, Team Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson's not great this year. Traded away Jalen Hurts and got Anthony Richardson and a first-round pick. He loves his Colts. I don't know what else to say.
He's got a couple of good teams. Yeah, pull up a Quentin Lake there. That DB. I want to give chances props because I'm about to shit all over his team. This DB's production has been outrageously consistent. Like that is
Yep.
the perfect DB, scoring you like 15 points every single week, no spike weeks, just like
Right.
just awesome production, not relying on like crazy fluke like interception returns or anything. And he gave up a future fourth round pick for Quentin
Yeah.
Blake. So that's an awesome
Yeah.
trade. What a stud. He doesn't have anything outside of Anthony Richardson, Tony Pollard. George Kittle's having a nice season, but
George Kittle,
he
yeah.
doesn't have enough. Like it's just, and he doesn't own his own first round pick for next year. So
Right.
I would throw him in that needs help category.
Okay. You're I'm voting one below.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck. It's not looking great. Moving on to the next division. Almost done. One more in the AFC. We're starting with the LA Chargers. Now, this is a team that has defied everything that I have said from the beginning, and what is most important about this league is having a starting quarterback. This team is 4-2, has scored over 1,000 points so far this year, and does not have a quarterback. This team has defied all the odds, in my opinion. Kyron Williams, Amari Cooper just traded to the Buffalo Bills. Malik Neighbors, Laporta, Justice Hill. But I mean, who are these guys in his other two starting offensive spots? Who are they? But it doesn't matter. I mean, just picked up Kenny Clark off the waivers for some reason. That was a thing. Nick Bolton, Nick Bolton, with the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, doesn't have anything on his bench. That's the downside about this team is all his points production are in his starting lineup. So if something happens, if gosh forbid one of his players goes out for a couple weeks,
yeah.
especially.
Here's the thing, like. All this team is a quarterback away from being in that championship contending, but they have no depth, which means if they wanted to acquire a quarterback, they would need to give up some of these assets. And then, so 2 future firsts, including his own. I don't know. Is that enough to get a quarterback? Probably.
Probably.
I don't know why this team hasn't gotten a quarterback yet, but they're a quarterback away. As it stands right now, I would put them in that strong core. I mean, man, but the rest of their division's so bad. They're like a lock for the playoffs unless something crazy happens.
I think we have to put them in the playoff worthy spot.
Okay.
Because they are probably going to win their division.
There's way too many teams in that tier. We gotta make some moves, I think.
Okay. The Raiders, they're 2-4. Couple young pieces: Tyler Kraft, Brian Thomas Jr., Christian Watson, Adion Mitchell. I mean, all young guys that are really going to come up in the next couple years. But when you don't have a quarterback, like I said, I mean, he did for a couple weeks. He had Justin Fields.
Yeah, he was doing well.
Right now with Justin Fields, if you don't have a guaranteed starter, I guess I should say, this is your team. It's just so hard to succeed and stay consistent. So I put the Raiders as a good luck. But as I see their team, with who knows if Russell Wilson stays healthy.
I said this in the offseason too. I really like what they're doing, and because it is a dynasty league. They have a lot of great young pieces. It's just not a complete roster. I think he would be the first to tell you that. So, but we're looking at who's contending to be a champion this year, and it's not him.
Right.
So I don't care. And either one of those bottom tier teams.
Yeah. He's going to need a lot of help. Okay, Kansas City. No quarterback. Bateman and Breece Hall. Those are his guys, as well as Jamison Williams with Detroit. Just had an off week. No quarterback. Pretty consistent. Look at all his defensive players. They're all giving him double-digit points. I mean, 15 and a half. Even his damn kicker got him 15 points. He definitely has some pieces, but just missing a lot of offensive pieces, I would say. What do you think?
Yeah, Bateman's having the game of his life right now. Jamison Williams, they just announced 1 minute ago that Jamison Williams is being suspended for 2 games.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. 10 minutes ago. Wow. That's not great.
No, no, it's not. Yeah, just for time's sake, let's throw this team into the needs help category and move
Okay.
on.
That's where I had him. Denver Broncos. This is also a somewhat interesting team. They've scored 825 points. They've points against are 993. Key players: Zach Moss, Jerry Jeudy now in Cleveland, Zach Ertz, AJ Brown. But again, no quarterback, right? I'm not missing anything.
No, no,
No.
they have Caleb Williams.
Oh, they do. Okay, sorry. Yep, they do have Caleb Williams. Wow. I mean, this team is it's like on paper, it's like when you're building an NFL team, like on paper, like the Jets, like
Yes,
they're supposed
yes,
to be
exactly.
really good, but nothing's hit, nothing's like they're not working cohesively as a team. And
That starting roster is not representative of this team because he has
No.
Caleb Williams on bye and Cooper Kupp is out. So Cooper Kupp's going to come back. Caleb Williams going to come back. I would put this at least in the strong core tier,
Yeah,
if not playoff worthy.
Wow, yeah, I don't think I can put them in the playoff.
What's the
but
difference in their points for between them and the first place team?
over 200 over a whole
Okay,
game?
okay, strong core.
Yeah, strong core for the Denver Broncos. Okay, that's the AFC. Should we we got 3 of the AFC North in the playoff worthy. I feel
Yeah.
like we gotta at least just pick.
Can we drag
We also
yeah. Let's drag the Bills down because they're
Okay.
kind of a clear bronze medal in their own division. And then
Right.
yeah, with those 3 teams, it's so hard to separate them. I feel like if we move one down, we got to move the other 2 down.
Sure.
But I mean, technically, they're all worthy of the playoffs because that division's
They
so
are.
close, and all those teams are doing all right. So I don't know, tough one.
Yeah. Here we go. Meat and potatoes, everybody. This is why we're here. NFC East battle of Tolliver, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Washington Commanders. GG Snubs.
Hey, that's me.
Hey, that's you. That's fun.
Yeah. Before we dive in, I think it's we have to just take a look at what's going on this week in the matchups.
Yep, let's do it. Yep.
Interesting. Look at that.
Yeah. So Washington Commanders are going to beat Tolliver by over 50 points. Dang. That's,
Yeah. Tolliver doesn't have his quarterback. His Dak Prescott's on bye, so
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans gets hurt.
You hate to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, David Montgomery got hurt.
Debo came down
Debo
with the
got
sickness
hurt.
in game, so
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
terrible luck for him.
Very.
And yeah, he could have made moves to add a quarterback. He could have done a lot, but I think because he already has a game up on me, because I lost to the Vikings, who we'll get to, and he beat the Vikings by a fraction of a point. So he has that margin.
Yes.
He's got that margin for error. So he was like, okay, we'll just let the chips fall where they may this week. And I think he probably thought he was probably going to lose, and we'll be all knotted up after this week.
Sure. Yeah. So now, after this week, you will have the edge, right? Or does it go off? Does it go off head to head, or does it go off points for?
To answer your question, it goes off of points for, but I'll have the head to head too because I'm beating him this
Okay.
week.
Yeah, and you'll have the points for. You actually have, before this matchup is done, you actually have 3 more points for. But I'm just seeing this now, just realizing 720 points against. I think that's the lowest we've seen so far. It is 720 points. That's crazy. That he has the most points, or the second to most points for that we've seen, and the absolute least points against.
Yeah. No, it's been a total cakewalk. He hasn't earned anything that he's gotten, and I taught him a freaking lesson this week.
Yes, you did. Yeah, you put him in his
Respect.
place. Yeah, I have to put him in playoff worthy though, just because of his record and his team.
Could argue even higher. I don't know.
I don't like. You'll see when we get to you, but because
Okay.
I think we have to. I think we have to move because of your win and because of your quarterback. I think we have to move you to the championship bracket.
No arguments here.
Yeah. Alvin Kamara, hopefully he can come back. This is the Washington Commanders team, your own team, Kamara, Christian Kirk, Jordan Mason. This is the sticky point here. Is
Yeah.
when does CMC come back? Because you paid a first round price for Jordan Mason, which I think starting running backs are at a minimum worth a first round pick. So I had no problem. Like we talked about that trade, I didn't have any problem with making that move, especially because your goal. I think I'm speaking for you here, but your goal is to win this year. So. I mean, your defense players, Trey Hendrickson had a monster game. They're all great. You had one guy not do great, but everybody else is double digits, and you had two guys more than make up for him. And Jalen Hurts, I mean, he had a rough start, and a rough start as in 28 and 35 points, but he had 2 18-pointers, but I think he's really starting to come to his own. And if they keep on doing that tush push, I mean, he's the number 8 quarterback, but if I feel
he had a lull because he was missing AJ Brown for a couple games, and he was missed Devontae Smith for one of those games. I'm not worried. He's so solid. And yeah, for everyone else watching, you might look at Christian Kirk and Ladd McConkey and think, how is that super competitive? But I have Nico Collins in my IR right now.
Mm-hmm. You have Nico Collins. And, man, like, one compliment I will give you for your defense, I mean, you just have you have so many defensive studs.
All those defensive linemen are on the block, by the way. I don't need all those guys, but
yeah, I feel like that was you last year when you won it all. You had like 3 or 4 bench linebackers that were scoring just as much as your starters were. So yeah, I will admit, you know how to pick the defensive players. I'm not that talented.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of paying attention to injuries and stuff. But yeah, so like you said, I traded away my own future first round pick for Jordan Mason. I have some other mid rounders, I'll probably get rid of all those at the trade deadline. But if I make the playoffs, that future first-round pick of mine is going to be so late, I think the trade was worth it. If I miss out on the playoffs, then at the end of the season, I'm going to be kicking myself for trading away my own future first because I didn't win now, and I also don't have my first-round pick for the future. So I'm just going to fall right down the middle there if I don't make the playoffs. So it's a huge gamble. Who knows with CMC? But yeah, so Jordan Mason, I think with CMC coming back, he'll still at least be the change of pace for a good offense. I don't think he's good. I don't think they're going to give CMC everything, coming off an injury.
I mean, it's already weak. Another thing to remember is that CMC could easily come back, which would be unfortunate, in the middle of the fantasy football playoffs. He could easily come back week 11, week 12.
They're talking about him coming back after their bye. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. But, the 49ers are liars. So we don't know. Yeah. we really don't. We can only go off of the information that's publicly available. But
I'm giving you the slight edge with Jalen Hurts over Dak Prescott, and I'm bumping you to the championship.
I appreciate it. And yeah, we'll get to your. I think your division might be next. So
yeah, we have two.
You got a good team yourself. So.
Yeah. We'll get there. Okay, New York Giants. Couple studs. Bijan.
Don't talk to me about Juju. I don't want to talk about it.
No, I wasn't. I was just going to end it at a couple studs saying Bijan Robinson.
Drake May looks good.
Yeah.
It's a dynasty league, and it looks like, hopefully he's not one of those Blake Bortles type quarterbacks that's good for fantasy but not real life.
Right.
Daniel Jones, another one of those. Those guys just don't last long, but I think he has a long rope. I think the Patriots know that they don't have a good squad. Speaking of Daniel Jones, he also has Daniel Jones. This guy's just addicted to bad quarterbacks. But we'll see. We'll see. Drake May's young.
Doesn't have much depth on offense, which is rough. I guess his only bad start is this Kadarius Hodge guy. He had that one crazy end of the game touchdown against Tampa Bay a couple weeks ago. But am I missing anything on IR? No.
He's got Micah Parsons, Higbee. I thought, or did he trade him away?
No, he has Parsons.
There he is. But
Yeah,
yeah, he's
but when
gone
it comes to
for a while.
offense, he just he doesn't have the greatest guys.
No, they're terrible. Yeah, bottom tier or next to bottom tier.
Yeah, I think he's, especially with you and Tolliver going back and forth. I think he's going to need a lot of help
Yeah.
to try to win that division. And the Philadelphia Eagles, I put them as a strong core when I did my first initial ranking. But the more I'm looking at this, Javonte Williams, George Pickens, Marvin
They got to be the
Harrison,
best 2-4 team in
yeah,
the whole league. I mean, their points for and points against are ridiculous.
yeah,
Feel
about
bad.
100 more points.
I would.
Yeah,
I mean, that is me in some other leagues, not this league.
right, right.
But yeah, that's not a good feeling.
Yeah, Justin Herbert, Nathan Landman, Levante David. Yeah, but
Strong core sounds right to me,
yep, that's where I had them too.
especially given the record and the division. That's just
Right.
you can't put them
Right.
any higher.
NFC North, starting with the Minnesota Vikings, 5-1. They just beat the Green Bay Packers, so they will be 6-1. They put up 150 points. They have 1,200 points on the season.
That leads the
mean,
league. So they're
leads
the
the league,
highest points scored. So using that metric, which is probably the most fair metric, they're the best team in the league. Some would say.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. He has one of my favorite linebackers here, Andrew Van Ginkel.
What a name.
What a name and what a guy. Spillane is pretty good too. Yeah. And Brock Purdy, I mean, he's been up and down, but also really consistent when it comes to his production. And yeah, I mean, you're right. By that logic, he is the best team. I put this team as playoff bound, but
Well,
the more I look at it, I don't know.
yeah, so I think in the offseason we had them like right there with the Titans and the Jets as like best teams in the league. And
Yeah,
they lead the league in
yeah.
points for, so it feels disrespectful not to put them at that top tier. But I want to point out his running back, Chuba Hubbard, having a great year, but his workload is about to be eaten into by the stud rookie. So
Is it though?
you don't think he's coming back?
I mean, I have Jordan Brooks in a couple leagues, and I would love for him to come in and start going off. But this
Yeah.
team is just so bad. Like, why would you?
Well,
put this
you need
rookie
to
out
you need to
there?
evaluate. You need to see what that rookie looks like in NFL
Yeah.
action. You need to know what you have going into the offseason, going into the next draft. So I
True,
definitely think he's
true.
going to see the field. But yeah, if you look at his bench, like he has no other running backs. So if that does happen,
Oh, he's Tajay Spears.
okay, we're talking about the difference between championship contending and
True,
playoffs.
true.
So that's just my point.
He has Cole Kmet on the bench.
Yeah, that's
in
a
the bye
great
week.
tight end.
Yeah,
for a
great
league like
tight end.
this.
Man, yeah, okay. So we're keeping them on playoff worthy then. Green Bay Packers, they're 2-4. Some highlight players here: Travis Kelce, J.K. Dobbins. Oh man, this is the guy that has CMC and Travis
It is,
Kelce.
it is.
I think those were his first two picks.
Put him in the bottom tier and let's
yeah.
get on with it.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. Detroit Lions, man.
So this is like the last team with just two players. Instead of Travis Kelce and CMC, it's Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. I mean, Nico, I know he's good at fantasy football. I just wonder if, as soon as the startup draft ended and he realized that he didn't have a competitive team, if he just kind of like quit the league. Like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah,
I feel
so
like a couple
okay, yeah,
people
so
have
he had
kinda done
JJ
that.
McCarthy. That was his whole plan, right?
That's right. Yeah.
He said, I'm going to not draft a quarterback in the entire startup, and then I'm going to draft one because I know I have an early pick in the rookie draft. Drafted JJ McCarthy. JJ goes down, and then he just says, okay, screw it.
Yep.
We can put him in the bottom tier, or we can put him in the needs help tier. I don't really care.
No.
Especially if we're talking
no.
about this year, he's
Yeah.
bottom tier. If we're talking
Good
about
luck.
this year.
Yep. Yep. And the 0-6 Bears, again, I mean, had Russell come back for him, but Tyreek Hill has missed his own quarterback. Doesn't really have a starting running back unless I'm missing anything.
You're not.
No. So you definitely need a running back. You definitely need a starting quarterback, and he just now got Russ, but he's definitely built for the future.
No, he's not. He
has
has
one
one first round pick, and it's of one of the best teams in the league. I think this roster is absolutely terrible, and he doesn't own his own future first. So that's
You said it, not me.
Rough.
Let's throw him in the bottom.
Yep.
Wow. What a blessing of a division the Vikings have. I mean, we just ranked the rest of their division mates all on the bottom for this year.
Yeah.
Okay. NFC South.
All right.
Starting with my team here.
We can throw this team in the needs help. We can just kind of move on.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I'm currently projected to win. The game's not over yet, but I'm up 22 points. He has two defensive players.
Yeah, the game. I mean, come on. Yeah,
it's pretty much over. The Baltimore game is just about to end, and there's 10 minutes left in the Chargers-Arizona game. So back.
Yeah. If we look at the records of the division.
Yep.
Okay, so this win will give you a 2-game lead. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Let's dig into the roster. Go for it.
And I will be the only undefeated team left. Which is
very nice.
Crazy to say out loud. Absolutely crazy in my mind.
That's got to feel awesome.
I'll start scrolling down and I'll let you evaluate.
Yeah, well, I mean, it all starts with Jake Bobo right there. No. We got some bye weeks and injuries and stuff going on. It's a really well-rounded team. That T. Higgins trade looks awesome now. Who knows what the future holds for T. Higgins, but for the rest of this year, he looks like a locked and loaded top 12 wide receiver. Michael Pittman, he's producing. Kirk go bangs. I mean, it's just a solid roster. Like, you don't really have any duds unless you have to start Jake Bobo. Why did you have to start Jake Bobo? What's going on in that bench?
Yeah. Well, I have Turpin and 2 Dallas players on bye this week,
sure.
and I just lost Shaheed.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, I knew you had other starters, and that sucks because that is for the year. So, are you? I mean, you're the only undefeated team left, so you're probably not. But I was wondering when that news broke that you lost Shaheed for the whole year. Were you thinking about making any other moves, or?
Yeah, I was trying to think, like, is it worth trying to get rid of Shaheed to try to, kind of like how David did for Rashee Rice, like try to go find a piece to help me out this year? Honestly, I was going to let this week kind of decide if I won or lost. So I think I'm sticking with my guts. Like the punt return and the kickoff return rules and scoring is really helping my team. I'm really dependent on that. With Calvin Austin and Turpin, and Turpin. So, it's tough.
It's a great squad. You got a great defense, and Gibbs is holding it down. We haven't even really talked about him, but he had a heck of a week this week.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, look at that. I mean, what's his worst game so far?
14.5.
That's his worst fantasy performance so far. So that's just, you can't do better than that. He's already passed his bye. He's already passed his bye. That was huge. I got a win during his bye, which I definitely thought I was going to lose. I don't have a backup starting quarterback, so when Kurt goes on bye in week 12, that's probably going to be a tough one to win. So yeah, I mean, throw yourself up in that champion tier, because you have the best record in the league and you have a 2-game lead in your division, so that's pretty easy. But yeah, interesting with the Shaheed injury.
That one hurt. That one blows. Yeah, division rival mate. David at YFB X David, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Josh Jacobs, Daryl Mooney, Demario Douglas, Kincaid, Singletary, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this wouldn't be a terrible redraft starting lineup, and he has it in Dynasty.
Yeah, no one changes up their starting roster via trade more than David. He is a wheeler and a dealer, and I still like his team. I think it's still really good.
I do too.
Hilarious. He gave up one of the top linebackers in fantasy football for a kicker just to try and beat you, and that kicker scores -3.5. I hate to pile on the guy, but that's
Well, another funny part about all that matchup is this kicker that I got for $5. Anders Carlson was the Green Bay kicker, and he had him, and dropped him, and I picked him up for $5 because San Francisco picked him up, and I got 5.5 points out of him. So I spent $1 a point,
so that's like a 9-point swing.
Yeah,
And it looks like it's not going to decide the matchup because you're winning by 20, but still, that's pretty fun. David still has a great team. Rodgers is old, so he'll have to figure that one out. But for this year, I put him in that playoff worthy tier.
Yep, I totally
move on.
agree. I totally agree. Okay, Carolina Panthers. This is I actually have a somewhat interesting division. I wouldn't say it's the most interesting, but it is somewhat. Jalen Warren, Tank Dell, Drake London, Zay Flowers, Mason Rudolph. Yikes.
Yeah. Gardner Minshew looks like he'll start for a while, which is nice.
He also has Will Levis, so he has his backup for Will Levis, which is important, I think. Let's see where I put this team. I put this team as a strong core. I think it has a really good couple pieces. I'm jealous of Xavier McKinney. He had Jerome Ford for a while, so I think that was kind of keeping him afloat.
This is a great dynasty roster. Like, all those players are so young. It's just everything besides quarterback looks great, but quarterback's so important. And just because you have 3 of them, I mean, come on. So,
Yep.
I don't know. Throw him into that strong core.
Okay. New Orleans Saints. This team is the team I traded for T. Higgins. He has Joe Burrow. He has Madison. Charbonnet.
He has Joe Burrow and a bunch of backups.
Yeah, nobody mentionable really.
Nope. And then scroll down to his draft capital. I just want to remind myself.
Sure. Yep. He has
3 future firsts.
3 future firsts. So this team is definitely built for. I mean, Hood, MB, and myself are probably going to be on the top.
Those are going to be late firsts. Yeah.
Yeah, top 25, or I mean, 25 or later. So,
Right. Yeah, put them into that needs help tier. Does that sound right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's where I put them. They would need a lot of help to win this year. All right, last division here, the NFC West. Arizona Cardinals are 4-2. I really like this team. Tyler Goodson, Jalen Naylor, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Kyle Pitts, Xavier Legette, Baker Mayfield with a 40 bomb this week. And look at this defense. I mean, 30 points, 16 and a half, 16, 15. I mean, this team is surprisingly really good. Their record says they're 4-2. They've scored over 1,000. They've scored 1,015 points. I think they could make a run. We're just learning that Baker lost Mike Evans and it sounds like Chris Godwin in this game tonight. So maybe that changes how Baker plays for the foreseeable future. But man, this team is just
This
stacked.
team also has Sam Darnold. And I can't believe that's like malpractice that he hasn't traded away Sam Darnold, because he's probably, well, man, if he keeps playing like this, he might not start for the Vikings, but he'll start somewhere. So
yeah,
he's got a lot of value. I think every week his value goes up as he just puts more and more good tape on. But this is just another one of those teams where I'm like, why do you still have 2 quarterbacks? You could improve your starting roster so much.
Yeah, he has CeeDee Lamb on bye.
Yeah.
He put up He put up 194 points without CeeDee Lamb.
All right. So we'll throw him in the championship tier.
Whoa, man. You know what? I'm going to go with you on this one. I was just going to put him in the playoff worthy, but maybe you're right.
Well, I mean, look, they're obviously making the playoffs. If you look at the rest of
Right.
like, what are they? Yeah, they're 4-2. Everyone else is 2-4 or
4-2.
worse. Yeah, I especially if they make some moves near the deadline. They have the firepower to contend for
Yeah.
a championship. I think.
Yeah, a sleepy good team. I don't think they
No
really get a
running
lot of-
backs. I did write that down.
Yeah, but Tyler Goodson is just.
Oh,
he's-
stop.
Without,
No. Jonathan Taylor's going to come back eventually.
So, I don't know, man. I like Tyler Goodson this year. Yeah, no running backs. And my mouse. Okay. So we're gonna put them in the championship. Los Angeles Rams. This is Carson Steele, Tyler Lockett, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. That's funny that they have both the Baltimore tight ends, and Jordan Love. I mean, Jordan Love throws. He either gets you 45 points or 23. That's
And
pretty funny.
this team had a good performance this week too, right? The Rams.
The Rams. Let's double
The
check
Rams.
that.
Oh,
Yes,
oh.
they scored 150 points.
Okay.
They beat the 0-6 49.
All right, so they're moving to 3-4.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can make a case for playoff worthy because that roster is pretty good.
Yeah, who's their quarterback? Jordan Love. Yeah, he has TJ Watt that had an off
Will
game.
Anderson,
Anderson really coming on, and Julian Love.
I'm jealous
I mean,
of all that. That whole defense is great. Trent
Yeah,
Simpson,
yeah,
Chin. Yeah, not a lot of holes.
no, not a lot of holes, and he has Karlaftis in the Karlaftis in the wings. Nothing else really to.
Ricky Pearsall could
Pearsall.
be interesting.
He has ETN on the bench. Yeah, this is
Oh my
definitely a
goodness,
playoff-worthy
I
team.
totally forgot about ETN right there.
Yeah, definitely a playoff-worthy team,
Despite their record, yeah.
despite their record. Yep. And the Seattle Seahawks are next. They're 2-4. They have McLaughlin. They have Deontay Johnson, Devontae Adams, Hunter Henry, Xavier Worthy, Noah Brown, and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is just not the Patrick Mahomes that we've seen in years past. His most points so far is 28 this year. He even scored a rushing touchdown. Patrick Mahomes did this week, and he only got you 18 points in this league that favors quarterbacks. I don't know what to do with Patrick Mahomes. If I'm a dynasty owner, I have no idea what to do.
Yeah, I mean, he's still Patrick Mahomes, right? Like, this is Dynasty. They've tried so hard to get him weapons, and they've all just gotten hurt. So, yeah, his numbers are naturally going to dip when all of his wide receivers are hurt. I don't know. Throw this team in the needs help or the strong core.
Yeah, I really like this team, so I'm going to give them the
Okay.
strong core.
Okay, yeah, I like what
And,
Deontay Johnson's doing.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson, Xavier Worthy, Hunter Henry. I mean, players that could all, like Devontae Adams, they're all players that are going to give you either an amazing week or a bad week, and that's why. And I think their record that's why this team's record reflects that, is because they're not consistent team, but it is a team of players that can get you big points on a lucky week.
Yeah.
San Francisco 49ers, they're 0-6. They don't have a quarterback, but they have Nick Bosa. They have Alonzo. Anzalone, thank you. Nick Chubb, Troy Franklin, excuse me. Wow, Kyle Hamilton. I mean, there's like a couple really cool pieces on this team.
This team overemphasized defense,
Mm-hmm.
and it was an interesting experiment. I wanted to see how it would turn out, but
They have two picks, and one of them being the Titans pick, first round pick, excuse me. So they're going to need a lot of luck for.
whoa. Let's bump them up just one.
They're Owens. Okay.
They got a lot of good pieces.
They don't have a
Franklin,
quarterback.
Nick Chubb came back. Troy Franklin, no quarterback. Is that true?
No quarterback.
Oh, Tua.
Tua.
Tua's gonna
Tua.
come back. Okay.
Okay.
He's better than his record. Let's just leave him there. He needs help. Okay.
He does need help. Yeah.
Yeah. This was a ton of fun.
Yeah, this was a ton of fun. Yeah. This is our final. Here, I'll give a full screen
There we
here.
go.
This is our final.
Oh, it
rankings.
looks pretty evenly distributed now.
Yeah, a little bit even. Man, that AFC North stands out to me the most.
Yeah.
Sneak, and it's gonna be an interesting battle between you and Dallas, you and Tolliver, moving forward.
It will. Yeah, our records are going to be tied after this week. This is exactly how you won it, though, right? Like we've got some parity, but we got a lot of teams still in contention. There's a lot of season to go. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, and who will be buyers and who will be sellers at the deadline, and who's going to be active enough to really take their fate into their own hands. The injuries are going to play an outsized role, unfortunately. They just keep coming.
Mm-hmm.
Every year, like I feel like this year there's been a ton of injuries, but I feel like I catch myself saying that like every year. So I would love to see some data on that. Like, is this year more injury riddled than years past, or does it just feel like that?
I just want to give a quick shout out to the Chargers. I talked crap about this team. I put them as the Jesus Save Me tier at the beginning of the season, and they have worked their way up to being a playoff team. So I just want to give them a big shout out.
Did we really?
Yeah, we gave because I'm just so hard.
Okay. I remember.
Having
I remember
a
now.
quarterback. Yeah. If you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to succeed, and he has totally broken that seal, broken that bar. Props to you, Chargers.
Yeah. No, it is a super flex spot after all. So, it's not like you get 0 every time. If you have a deep enough roster, you can throw someone else in there and get some points. And that Malik Neighbors pick looks like a good pick. And there's a lot of teams out there with a couple different quarterbacks. So we'll see if he makes a move.
That's true. That's a good point. Easily could.
Well, I hope everyone, if you're in our league or if you're not in your league, in our league, I hope you enjoyed it. And let's see some other league mates create some content, maybe some trade analysis or some week previews. That'd be a lot of fun.
Sounds good. Yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks a ton for making it to the end of the episode. You're a real one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's a free, easy way to support the show, and it really helps us out. And leave us your comments down below if you're on YouTube, or send in your questions at thefantasyflowpodcast@gmail.com. Until next time.